hello. Hello, hello.
Check.
Hello, hello.
See, I told you there had to be something that would go wrong.
It's all right. We in here. Welcome to the Do Fools Agree podcast. Me, Cliff, with my brethren from another maternal figure, Michael.
Michael, you gonna call me Michael?
Hey. Hey.
You see, and that's why we call this "Do Fools Agree?" Cause you a fool.
No argument here.
So tell them a little bit about what we want to do with this whole thing, my man.
So basically, it's a podcast. We're going to be addressing current events, topics, sports, all that jazz. We'll see if two fools agree and if we could still be friends after if we don't, in the light of all this bickering and nonsense going on nowadays.
And I mean, I think this is something that you and I have been talking about for a little while now. We've known each other since before kindergarten, and I think we always talk about how I've always said that at some point I just want to put a camera on you and follow you around, and that was kind of why I wanted to do this podcast. I mean, that and
Hey,
I'm in my early 30s, mid 30s, depending who you talk to,
listen.
and my wife plays soccer on Friday nights, which means I am here with my son. And
So-
I just wanted somebody to hang out with.
Listen, so instead of the strip clubs and all that on Fridays, we'll be podcasting it up.
I think it's a good way for us to stay out of trouble, man.
Hey. Stories.
Right?
Stories.
So,
So kick it off. You got some things you want to talk about?
well, are we going to start off with our inadvertent
You know, let me get comfortable.
thoughts of the week? And we 5 minutes in,
Shedding clothes.
and it took Cliff this long to take off an article of clothing. So for those that don't know, I had one rule. So Mr. Jennings over here was the best man at my wedding, right? And he had one rule that he had to abide by, which was don't take your shirt off before 10 o'clock, Cliff. And you found a loophole.
Hey, the vest stayed on.
Shirt came off, he just out there in a vest.
And what are rules if nobody breaks them? So, you know.
That's true. So, I think what we wanted to get into first was the inadvertent thoughts of the week. So, you want to lead this off? You want me to lead it off? You tell me.
How about you lead it off so I can get my notes together here?
All right, I could do that. So, I had an inadvertent thought of the week, and, Monday on my way home from work, I was a witness to a hit and run accident. Going opposite direction. Somebody pulled out in front of somebody, didn't even look. Young kid hit this older gentleman and then just took off. And my inadvertent thought of the week was, when he got out, I was like, when the older gentleman got out of his car, like I went and made sure he was okay. I asked him, do you need any help? Blah blah blah. I saw who the person was, and I got half of a license plate number, right? And tell me why I had a little bit of white guilt, because dude that did the hit and run was black, and I tried to justify it to myself. Because the old dude that got hit was also black. So I just felt conflicted about the whole thing.
Right.
I try to be a woke white boy, right?
But at the same time, snitches get stitches. So,
I was helping out an old man. What do you want?
however you want to justify that to yourself.
What about you? What's been your inadvertent thought of the week?
Let's see, mine is completely off the wall. So I was listening to a podcast this week, and they were discussing numerology. So I did my own research into the situation, and on the podcast, they explained how the number 33 is significant to enlightenment. Basically, this is the number of for temperature when water freezes at 33 degrees. Below 30 degrees, it freezes. Above it is liquid. So when you reach the 33rd level of masonry, you are believed to have been enlightened.
Okay.
Now, based on numerology, your birthday will tell you what path you're on, which led me to wonder, I guess you could say, why isn't there more suicides in the Mason? What do you call that? Like, is that a group? What is that exactly?
I don't know. Is that the Freemasons?
The Freemasons, exactly. I would imagine that there would be more suicides if you know this and you're not on a 33rd path. Now, I could be completely off and have no understanding of how this works in the Mason form. But if you have a birth month for me specifically, my birthday is August 28th, 1986. I'm said to be on a 6-number life path. And what this indicates is that I'm on a path of understanding. So I'm trying to figure myself out. So when you really think about it, based on that information, I would say that's pretty accurate for me. But I feel also that if I was to have died and come back, which clearly would put me on a different life path, would that make me then closer to the 33? Which in turn is the question why I ask, wouldn't there be more suicides in masonry? I don't know. It's completely off the wall, I understand, but that's just the way my brain works.
I mean, I would like to say that I can follow any of that, but I got nothing, dude.
Well, listen, all I know is I'm hot as hell right now. I need a second to myself. Give me one moment.
Right.
I'm gonna need you to take it away, Michael.
I did. So, I think the other shower thought, or the other inadvertent thought that I had this week was, I felt bad because I'm sitting playing Beyblades with my son. And for those of you that don't know, these are these spinning top things that just, you use a cord and you kind of like rip it through and it spins. And, my inadvertent thought of the week was, I feel bad for my buddy Cliff here because he doesn't have a son, and he came over today and he was playing with Andrew and he pretty much said, "Oh no, I play with my nephew." I'm like, "Well, that's cool. So Cliff had to take a moment. We'll see how this goes. I will use this opportunity to jump into my other inadvertent thought of the week, which was watching the Picard premiere. I was able to geek out heavily. And it was awesome for me because I have been looking for a new Star Trek like that since Next Generation and Voyager and Deep Space Nine all ended. So I think on my mind, right now, just looking at the Picard premiere and Patrick Stewart, I think we got a lot of those types of things. And Cliff is over here cracking me up. Oh, man. This is the problem with doing a live show, Mr. Jennings.
Too much alcohol.
Too much alcohol.
Too much alcohol.
Oh. I didn't think we had that much, man.
Woo! I pregame before I got here, ladies and gentlemen.
He thought it'd make him funnier, but he's just sweating now.
Once the clock lets out at the gig,
and Cliff has broken his rule for from the wedding, which is keep your shirt on until 10 o'clock.
Listen, what are rules if not meant to be broken?
That's true.
So, to touch on what Michael said, I can do without Beyblades.
You can do without Beyblades?
I can do without Beyblades. Always thought I wanted a boy. Fine with what I got.
I mean, trust me, after spending countless hours over the last 3 weeks playing with the damn things, I'm over it.
The one thing I will say is, and judge me however you like, at least with a girl, I can say, boys don't play with Barbie, sweetheart. Boys don't play with Barbies. Play by yourself. or next year, ask for G.I. Joes for Christmas.
There you go. Get some action figures up in there.
It's up to you.
I hear you. Oh man. Any other inadvertent thoughts of the week? I mean, that numerology one was deep,
yeah,
dude.
I don't know that, and it's funny that that's the first thought that popped into my mind is why don't we hear about more
Freemason suicides? Is that where you were going?
I guess if they're enlightened enough, you wouldn't hear about it anyway. Now that I think about it, I think they'd be the master of cover-ups.
Them and the Templars.
And I'm wondering if it's a synonym. Or is that a homonym?
I don't think it's a homonym. Homonym would be two things that sound alike, you fool.
Okay. Well, once again, you understand the title of the podcast, folks.
Do fools agree?
Listen.
On this one, I'm gonna have to say no, my man.
You don't agree with the numerology?
I'm not following it, not
listen,
feeling it.
Have you? But let me ask you, one though, there has to be one Mason suicide.
Oh, I'm sure there's suicides in every group.
Right, but why aren't they recorded? Why don't you hear about them, or is it just not?
I mean, do you
important?
really hear about suicides though? Like,
Yeah.
unless you're close to the person, do you really hear about it?
Anthony Bourdain.
Okay, if they're famous, you'll hear about suicide. But if they're not,
How many famous Masons are there? That's what I'm saying.
exactly.
about that
There's not a lot of famous Masons.
Because I'd imagine.
Well, and those that are famous, they don't tell you that they're a Mason because it's a secret society, isn't it? Isn't that the whole thing?
All we ask is trust.
I don't know. I
I
got a
don't know how
dude
that
I
works
play
either.
D&D with on Saturdays. I'll ask my buddy Caleb, see what he has to
Is
say.
he a Mason?
He's a Mason.
Ask him,
I'll see what kind of information I can get
Ask him
about the numerology.
how many of them have off themselves in the past year
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
on the path to enlightenment.
Oh man,
Okay.
but masonry is really about like stonework and that kind of stuff, right?
All we ask is trust.
That's all we ask.
But Luke Picard, I heard.
Jean-Luc.
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? Patrick Stewart, man. Sir Patrick Stewart.
Who's that?
Jean-Luc
Explain it to me,
Picard
brethren.
of the Enterprise. Star Trek The Next Generation.
So we're traveling to space.
We are traveling to space, man.
Okay.
And it was in the news a little bit this week because Sir Patrick Stewart, who also played Professor X on the in the X-Men movies, he actually went on The View and invited former co-star from Star Trek The Next Generation, Whoopi Goldberg, to come on board for season 2 of his new show, Picard. And there was a little bit of controversy.
What's the controversy? behind that,
Controversy
sir?
was Joy Bear.
So I should've-
Joy Bear making some comments about Whoopi's hair when Sir Patrick asked her to come be part of the show, and Sir Patrick wasn't having any of it. He pretty much said she can do whatever she wants.
So, I've seen the clip.
You seen the clip?
Explain to me the controversy. I understand. Don't get me wrong, because I when I saw the clip, I can't say that it didn't stand out to me as well. One specific point, don't get me wrong, I don't want to be the guy that immediately jumps to the conclusion, But
The Joy
once,
Behar's racist?
no,
Is that where you
let's
going?
be honest. I don't know the woman,
Me either. That's fair.
and let's be honest. She's so far removed. I don't really give a fuck if she is. Excuse my French, but what I will say is
It's okay. We turned off the kids part of whatever the
We put 'em to
Kappa or
sleep.
Copa is. You can't. We're not going to be affected by the Children's Online Privacy Act.
good stuff. Beyblades are over. Okay,
Beyblades are done, sir.
so I will say one specific part of the video that did bother me.
What was
Because
that?
she said something about the hair. I heard it.
She did. That was the controversy. Is that was it because like Whoopi has
dreads, has natural hair,
and she does. You know, if the comment was about the blonde on top of the natural hair, though, like you can say natural hair. That blonde is not natural.
No, listen, we all saw the roots.
Right.
We all saw the roots. The issue that I had was she grabbed one of the dreads and flipped it with her finger.
Ooh,
Are you gonna
you
have
caught
to,
that. I don't know
are
that
you
I
gonna
caught
have
that.
To cut these, and mind you, it was the second time she said it, so she wanted to make sure she was heard.
She wanted to make sure she was heard. Absolutely.
Now,
Sir Patrick, though, handled it the best way possible because he was like, she can do whatever she wants.
but isn't he gay though?
Sir
He's
Patrick Stewart? No. Ian McKellen.
Is
You got
that
those two flips.
the Asian dude?
No, that's George Takei. George Takei is Sulu.
I have not the biggest Star Trek guy.
I have tried to get you into Star Trek since before we in preschool.
Space in general doesn't really intrigue me, to be honest.
That's fair.
I will
It's
say
not
that.
for everybody. I get it.
But okay, who's the other one? You said
Ian McKellen, who
is
played Magneto. He also played Gandalf.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The British dude.
Right. So he played
Okay.
Magneto in the X-Men films opposite Patrick Stewart.
And let me. I'm sorry, I should have prefaced that with context. I have no problem with gay people. I was just saying that.
I don't think there was anybody that thought you did.
I know that. Let's be honest. Gay people are more cognizant of other people's feelings.
That's probably true.
Understandably so, because they go through enough themselves.
So they naturally lean to be more empathetic.
Right.
I don't know if that's true, but I think it's a fair hypothesis.
We'll go there. We'll go there. That's the reasoning behind my question on whether or not he was gay. But are we sure he's not gay?
Yeah, I don't think so. And I mean, if he were, I would have no problem saying it, but I don't think he is. I don't think there's ever been any reports on that.
Okay. I'm just listen. But what I will say, this is what I will say about the whole thing, because what I do know about Star Trek is Whoopi's been there.
Yeah. Some of the best rated Next Generation episodes are the ones where Whoopi and Picard have the most dialogue.
Listen, Whoopi's been there. Jordy.
LeVar Burton.
Another.
Mr. Reading Rainbow.
Another colored. So all I'm getting at is the left must win. If that's any accurate depiction of the future, we know that the right's trying to make America great again here and build a wall. We knew they weren't taking black folks
Are you sure
to Mars.
about that, though?
All I'm saying is we knew they weren't taking black folks to Mars.
M-A-R-S. Mars, bitches. Wait. What did we look at right before this, though? The right, our idiot in chief, and his new Space Force logo. What does it look like?
It looks
just
like
the
Star
Starfleet,
Trek.
Star Trek insignia. That's right. So maybe it starts with the right, and eventually the left wins out. Maybe the right found Starfleet, but the left found the United Federation of Planets. That's what I'm saying.
All I'm saying is if it started with the right, how'd we make it to the Enterprise?
Well, see, what happens is World War III,
all
and then nobody's left. That's how it
Okay.
happens.
I was just about to say, I don't know.
Anybody who's seen Star Trek First Contact, you know what I'm saying.
I don't know if they have landing gear on the Enterprise, and I don't know if we would fit up in the hull. You know what I mean? I don't know how cold. I know it's pretty cold on an airplane, and they say you can't survive that. So I can only imagine what zero gravity would do to you in the luggage compartment of the Enterprise.
Why you gonna be in the luggage compartment? Because
if the right started it, we know we snuck there. Clearly, we know we cut a hole in the wall to get there.
There you
so
go.
I just took that as the left must win.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption. Oh
Okay.
man. So, anyways, loving the new series Picard. You should check it out. What about you, man? Anything you watching on TV these days? Or anything new you're streaming?
Let's see here. I feel like there is something. You know what? I will say I was pleasantly surprised with that show, The Witcher.
The Witcher?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with that. I don't usually get into the whole Dungeons and Dragons vibe type thing. It took me a while. I'm one of those people that just started watching Game of Thrones
Like the last couple seasons.
right a couple years ago. So I will say, admittedly, I loved it. I got into it. I didn't enjoy the last season so much. But I liked
Game
it.
of Thrones. Gotcha.
Correct. It loosened me up to watch The Witcher because otherwise I wouldn't have watched it. Pleasantly surprised. Don't know if I finished it, so I don't know how good that is. But I also have abandonment issues, if we're being completely honest. So, for instance, Sons of Anarchy was another show I loved.
Yeah.
Needless to say, spoiler alert for you fucks that haven't seen it. It's been off for years now.
Wait. I haven't seen it.
Spoiler alert. Jax dies at the end.
Okay.
Me knowing
Is that Gary Bertier?
Is that the blonde-haired guy that played in the robot movie?
Oh, I was talking about Gary Bertier from Remember the Titans.
Oh no, that's Opie.
Opie. You're right.
No,
you're right.
we're talking about the
I
main
have
dude.
seen a couple of episodes, just not a ton of them.
Married with Peg Bundy's son.
Oh, okay. From Married with Children.
And not the little one that jacked off in the basement.
Oh,
But
man.
nonetheless, I digress. I won't watch the last episode of the season because I don't want to see him die. Abandonment issues. So that could be why I haven't finished The Witcher. You know what? I'm fine.
Now I'm curious, like, because I tell you what, like, I thought the first couple of episodes were a little like disconjointed in that, and
right.
But by like episode 3 or 4, it got
you start
solid.
To understand what they're trying to do.
Right. You got the whole. You start to figure out that there's multiple timelines going on,
Right.
and you can start to see where the through lines are.
Right.
I'll tell you what, though, the last 2 episodes are solid, man. Like, those are probably the best 2 episodes of the show.
Shoot me at. I guess no. Never mind. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't seen it. Yeah, I can't say that I have. Wait. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's seen it.
Wait, if they've seen it, then you're not spoiling it.
Anyone that hasn't seen it.
And that's why you a fool.
You beat me to the punch. Feel like you got me twice.
You know, I'm trying.
Listen, God damn it. The one where wasn't the girl? Didn't they find her in the field?
Oh, where they found
the girl
Princess
with the powers.
Siri. Yeah.
Okay, what episode is that? That's all I'm gonna say about it.
Where they're in the field and they take her to the forest. I think that's like episode 4 or 5.
Okay, no. After that.
Ooh.
It's like a situation, if I'm remembering correctly, she's by herself. Something's chasing
That's
her.
early.
Something.
That's early. That's like episode. That's before she goes to the forest, I think. That's like episode 2 or 3 where
I feel okay. So
maybe you're right.
I feel
But
like
where she collapses to the ground and
right,
she does
and then
something
she wakes
and
up
some
and
stuff
that
goes on.
blonde head chick is in front of her.
Yeah,
her up off the
yeah.
ground.
That's probably more towards the mid-season.
I feel like that's like the last part that I saw of it.
Okay.
So I might have to go back and see the last 2 episodes. I swear I have a problem with things ending. If I want something, if this right here was my last beer and I wanted it to last forever, I would drink it to about there. Just right there. And save the rest of it. That's the kind of person I am. I'll leave something that I know I'll never touch again. I can never have it just because I know it's still there. Fool. Fool.
Now, with all that being said, though, you said you're a fan of The Witcher. You think it's worth people checking out, right? So on that, my friend,
I do.
I think two fools can agree.
We can agree. We can agree to that. What else? Any other shows? I don't know anything about Picard, but I will promise, for the sake of the podcast,
You check out an episode
I'll
or
check
two?
out an episode
All
or two.
right,
Just so
all
I
right.
can say when I come back, it was shit. It was shit, Mike. Why would you recommend? It was shit.
See,
God
and see,
damn it.
that's what I like about this, though, is, you know, people who know me, they know 3 or 4 things, right? They know, yeah, I'm buttoned up more or less at work. They know that I'm a football coach, and they know that I'm a geek. I mean, check me out on Twitter at the Geeky Coach.
Oh shit! I'm a procrastinator.
Right. Speaking of procrastinating and not getting shit done,
How about this?
you had one job. One job.
How about this? Let's flip it. Nope, we can't do that.
Wait, you can't do what?
We can't do that because I don't trust you bastards. I was gonna say, let's flip it. And how about somebody make a Twitter for me?
Oh.
I'll take whatever the handle is. But I don't trust you. And let's be honest, at the moment, it's probably like it's probably like the Weird Kids party, and there's not many people in attendance. So
I mean,
I'll get on that Twitter myself.
you're probably right. I mean, I just checked the live stream. We have the computer that is letting us track to make sure things go right. That's the one who's watching the stream right now.
I imagine you'll catch it on the upload.
I mean, if nothing else, you know, we're gonna blast the hell out of it, and you got to figure at least 1 or 2 people are gonna look at it, right?
Listen,
Our moms will. Well, my mom will. Your mom probably won't.
my mom's not watching it.
Jeannie, I love you.
Shout out to the lady that made me. But
Actually, you know who will watch it? My wife, because she's irritated with the fact that I've been obsessing over this all week.
listen, I'm sure she just wants to see.
And she's not wrong. She's not wrong.
She just wants to see what you're wasting your time doing.
Right? And I mean, I tried to tell her, like, yeah, okay, we bought some mid-tier webcams and a couple of microphones, and yeah, we're gonna do this. I tried to tell her, really, it's just to give us an excuse to hang out every week.
I'm here.
I know.
I don't do shit anyway. I'm a call away. Now, granted,
Are you?
I'm only 1 call away. Might not get back to you same day, though.
It's true.
It might call you back
It's
tomorrow.
1 call, but that call could take the place over 3 or 4 weeks.
That call may take a while to get returned. I usually wait until I have a nice buildup of missed calls till it says 6, 7 missed calls. And then I'll go through them and say, bills, nobody, scam likely. Who is that? Oh, that's Mike. I'll call him back. But it's been 3 or 4 days since I received
But you
the call.
gotta get to that point. I
Right,
get it.
you
I
know.
get it. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that I don't do the same thing. So
Know how that goes. I'm
You
not mad
know.
at you.
life, man, life gets in the way.
Love me from afar.
Right?
Leave me the hell alone. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. What's the next topic, though? What else you got on your mind?
Well, I mean, we could start to jump into the main topics. We had 2 or 3 we were talking about covering.
Let's
You
get
want to
into
jump into the elephant in the room of the UFC? The Conor McGregor fight?
Listen.
It's wrong.
Listen.
What you got to say about it? Because I'm sorry, I ain't never seen somebody beat to death with a shoulder.
You know what? You know what? It's funny that you bring that up because when I saw those shoulder strikes, I knew for a fact he was doing damage, and I was wondering to myself, why don't you change position of your head? Why didn't he try to change?
Right? Why didn't he
sides?
reverse the clinch
Right.
or
What-
you know what I mean?
Anything.
Just do something.
It was almost like he tried to keep his head against the shoulder, but was just getting banged with it. Let me say this is one of Conor's best performances that he's had in a while. One that I'm not the happiest about just because I'm a big Donald Cerrone fan. I feel like he's going to go down as the Dan Marino of the UFC, the Charles Barkley of the UFC, one of the all-time greats that's never gotten a belt or even really come close to getting one.
You know, as a Bills fan, I'm disappointed that you didn't say the Jim Kelly of the UFC.
Listen,
and that's something, by the way, we'll come back to the Buffalo Bills because I gotta vent a little
I'm
bit
sure you do.
about my Bills.
I'm sure you do. I might add a cent or two about how I feel,
but I'm sorry. I digress.
Nonetheless, what I will say is I was so surprised at how good he fought, especially against someone that I thought would give him a tough fight, that even me, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a Conor McGregor hater. He's a very entertaining guy. Don't necessarily like his personality, but I understand it. Thought he was back. He was back at that point. The only thing I will say is I've seen 2 articles since suggesting different opportunities he could go from this fight, whether that be taking the Khabib Nurmagomedov fight.
Okay.
The one that he got his ass whooped on
Right.
by a wrestler. Or I've also, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen, the Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor 2 promo posters, which
no.
I'm so fucking sick of seeing. 2 things. One, why would any of us want to see a Conor Khabib 2? Because we know Conor can't wrestle. You haven't worked on there hasn't been enough time from the first fight to now for you to master your wrestling enough to be able to defend someone as skilled as Khabib. It's a loss, regardless of how well you look, unless you're Masvidal and can catch him with a flying knee out the gate to knock him out. It's a loss for you. Number 2.
You mean the shoulder game won't work with that?
Listen, I'm pretty sure if you threw a shoulder at Khabib,
he would be around your ankles and you'd be on the ground.
you would be shoulderless and his stomach would be full.
That's fair.
Is all I'm going to say.
That's fair.
That's all I'm going to say about that. But, secondly, which plays more into Conor's game, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor 2. Now,
does anybody want to see that? I mean, legit, like
no one with common sense wants to see that. But listen, there are casuals on both sides.
That's true.
They're casual UFC fans,
and there are casual boxing
that
fans.
think that exactly that think that their fearless leader Conor could take on a 10-foot man wielding a sword with nothing.
I am William Wallace.
with nothing
And
but
if
a
he were
shoulder,
here-
with nothing but a shoulder and a strong knightly shoulder pad.
And if he were here, he'd consume the English with bolts of fire from his eyes and lightning from his arse.
What was that? What
That's
was that?
Braveheart, man. That's William Wallace. I am William Wallace. That's the
Listen.
beginning of the speech.
Okay, now. Secondly, let's wait now. Wasn't gonna let go of you casual boxing fans. There are casual boxing fans on the other side that literally think this is an actual fight. What I will say, and I don't know if you agree, Floyd Mayweather has single-handedly ruined the sport of boxing. Now, while I do believe, and this may be an unpopular opinion, I do believe he is the greatest boxer of all time, and I'm purely talking about what he does in the ring.
Better than Ali, better than Tyson. That's
Better
what you're
than
saying.
Any and everyone that has ever graced the ring.
I
I
think
do
it's just
believe
because you little like him.
I don't listen, and please understand that I'm not a Floyd Mayweather fan. Can't stand the guy.
No?
Can't stand the guy. But you have to give props where props are due. He is absolutely amazing. He's the one person out of the entire... No one's ever come close to mastering the sport like that man, Floyd Mayweather. Now, with that being said, because he's so good, he's had the opportunity to make astronomical numbers off single fights. He's come out to say that he won't accept another fight for anything less than $1 billion. Already made well over $500 million in one fight. So what he's done is he's taken the sport away from glory to padding my pockets. I'll avoid fighting the person that is the best, the second person, the next one up, if I can get a payday fighting this Uber driver over here. And that's not boxing. Back in the day, what I will say is Ali fought Joe Frazier. Ali fought Sonny Liston. Ali fought George Foreman. Ali fought all these greats. He didn't let them pass them by. Ali didn't wait. Ali took them. Ali didn't wait until people got too old to fight. He did it. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Floyd because he did his thing. He fought a lot of the great people, but you changed it to WWE. Now it's more so
I believe you on that. Like, it's more about the show.
Right.
It's more about
the lead up to the fight than the actual competition. So if the press conference is exciting enough, the fight doesn't have to be
who
shit.
at this point is he ducking, though? Like,
as far as Floyd?
yeah.
I don't even
do you feel
think
like if he's ducking anybody? Or,
now, what I will
or is
say,
he the great? I mean, at some point, age catches up with you, right?
right.
And fine. But at this point, do we feel like he's ducking somebody?
No, I definitely don't feel like he's ducking anyone.
Well, and at that point, then what's the difference? I'm with you that I think he is a lot of sizzle. But the problem is he's got both. He's got the sizzle and the steak.
Right. Okay. So let me explain. Let me explain.
I hear you on the WWE side in terms it's about the show, it's about the lead up, and as long as he delivers in the ring, why is that not good for the sport?
It's good for Floyd Mayweather. It's not good for the sport because what happens is you have these young up and coming fighters that try so desperately to hold on to that O on their record that they never take a chance to be great. Now, I'm not saying Floyd never took a chance to be great. I'm saying once he got to that position, he then said, I can coast. And
he hasn't been one like some others who have changed weight classes and gone after.
I mean, he's done that too.
He
He's
has,
been,
right? So that's where I'm
three,
like,
four?
what are you saying?
What I'm saying is this. You have a situation where everybody was talking about, and listen to what I will say is the one time that I did root for Floyd Mayweather was against Manny Pacquiao. And don't get me wrong, I like Manny Pacquiao so much more than I like Floyd Mayweather from a I don't want to say a personal standpoint because I personally don't know either of them, but from a fighting standpoint, Floyd had to win that fight. His style had to beat Manny's style because usually it will every time. But what I will say is everybody made the argument that Floyd waited until Manny got too old to be able to keep up. Now, mind you, they are close in age. But what I will say is since then, Manny Pacquiao has gone on to fight top names in the sport of boxing well past his the 40 mark of his career, and is continuing to win. They wrote Manny Pacquiao off a year ago when they stole his belt from him in that Jeff Horn fight. Not only did he find a way to get a new belt back, he's now fighting for 2 more. Now, this is a man that's older than Floyd Mayweather, still continuing to go. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather is picking Conor McGregor to fight twice.
Which
and a Japanese,
is it really a fight? Like
right, and a Japanese MMA fighter. Now, those aren't fights. That's why he doesn't call them
those
fights. He calls them exhibitions.
Well, and on top of that, they have to be exhibitions because they're not in his sport, right?
Why would anybody want to see that is what I ask if you're not a casual.
Right.
I honestly feel if you're not a casual, you should feel disrespected by these
well, I don't disagree
that
with that
put
at
on.
all. It's no different than when someone from the UFC, like a Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey, goes to the WWE. It's a show. It's
Right.
It's not an actual competition because either they're in Floyd's arena and it's boxing, and I'm sorry, a boxer will take someone in the UFC, somebody that's just pure boxing
In the ring. Right.
Now you flip that and you make that a UFC match. He getting his ass whooped. He's getting his ass whooped.
Not James Toney.
He ain't gonna be able to keep himself. He's gonna be on the ground.
Not James Toney.
All right.
He got that win. That's all I got to say. Now, while I do agree that 9.5 times out of 10 that MMA fighter is winning, James Toney.
There's always an exception to the rule.
Listen. And vice versa. There was who? There was a UFC fighter that came and beat a boxer, too. I can't think of the name. I'll have it for you by the second podcast, I promise. Probably not. I'll probably forget.
I was about to say, there's no way.
That's why I thought I had a notepad.
I will say that I was pleasantly surprised because my good friend Cliff here actually showed up 15 minutes early tonight.
Listen.
And that's not 15 minutes before we're live. That's 15 minutes before he told me he'd be here. So
listen,
I appreciate it, man. Andrew was happy to see you. The boy was happy to see you.
Listen, that's my guy. That's my guy. I don't get to see him enough.
That's true. Well, that's on you. Well, if we start doing this weekly, you see him every week.
I'll be here.
We'll see how long we keep this going.
What do I have to do?
That's true. I mean, shit. I don't have anything to do till football season.
Listen, but what I will say to wrap up the whole boxing Conor.
Yeah, I like how we started this off with Conor
and switched to wherever. That's what fools do.
I mean, that's what we do. That's
what fools do. But
I don't know what we got to agree on here, though.
You know what? It's very apparent that this is the first episode because I'm having issues.
Because you're shirtless and you're having hot flashes.
Can't say that won't happen every episode.
That's probably true.
But what I will say is I don't know if I should look at the camera
or look at me,
the computer,
or me,
you, or just stay in my zone with my eyes closed. You
well,
know what I mean,
what I will say is that you said that you would definitely watch back this one,
right?
and you can let us know. Like,
I'll take notes.
You take notes and bring me back some production notes, because let's face it, like, I set all of this up kind of throughout the week this week,
Right.
and been testing stuff, and this is very much a dry run. That's not meant to be a slam on you or anything, but take a look, give me some notes, and we could definitely move things around. And I will tell you, right now we are very geographically located to the computer, because I thought I ordered USB extension cables for the webcams, and I didn't.
Okay.
they were still in my Amazon cart today.
Okay.
So, you know.
Hey, no biggie. I mean, I'm comfortable.
And I tell you what, man, I feel like in looking at this setup, and I'm going to adjust the layouts and some stuff, because it doesn't look like the Streamlabs stuff is coming through on the live chat. I mean, we probably don't have anybody watching live anyways, that's cool.
What's
but
the Streamlab?
Streamlabs is our the system that I'm using to broadcast everything, and they will also set you up with a donation page and a chat bot and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So we have it set up to do that, but until it's actually until we have a few subscribers,
right,
it's really not worth it. I still think it looks good on the page. Like, it says, hey, live chat. Basically, at this point, you can see it that live chat coming soon. Live chat coming soon.
Let's not give all the
That's fair. That's fair.
Let them know what is and isn't working quite yet.
But what I will say is, if you want to see more, go over to streamlabs.com/foolproofentertainment and throw us a little donation. I mean, at this point, I'd be happy if a year from now we were able to pay off the equipment that I bought. I mean, that would be awesome. But not looking for it. I mean, really, man, I just want to do this, hang out with you on Friday nights, just give us something to do, and hopefully, eventually, a couple people are interested in what we have to say.
I'm sure that'll be the case. Probably later than sooner. Probably true. But we'll definitely be making strides in the right direction. Get more people interested.
So let me ask you a question.
Of course.
What? So I know we threw the podcast idea out a couple months ago. Like, what made you think like, hey, we should do something like this? Like, I know we talked about it a little bit, and I know, but talk about it a little bit. What podcast you listen to, what you want, or not necessarily what the inspiration for this show is, but like what podcast made you think that, hey, maybe we should do something?
That's an interesting question, because I subscribe to a lot of them. I will say first and foremost, as far as myself getting involved, it wouldn't necessarily be any other podcast. I mean, definitely listened enough to know that this is something that I'd be interested in doing, but never thought I'd actually be doing it until you brought it up. I actually had someone before you ask me if I'd be interested in doing one. I guess that kind of fed my interest, or that want to see how it could turn out. And then, ironically enough, you then brought it up, and of course I would be more comfortable doing it with you than the latter. By the way, you still owe me $10, and I didn't forget about that.
Is that to me? Or is that to
they
know who they are? All right.
I know it's just $10, but it's been a while. I need the $10.
And I think that's a fair statement. I'll tell you what. I mean, maybe we should have them on this one, and they can come. They can come give you your $10.
But nonetheless, it just seemed like that person sparked enough of interest that by the time you asked me, it was already on my mind to where I didn't need time to think about it. I'm all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. I think for me, You and I, when we first talked about this, you brought up guys like the Brilliant Idiots,
Listen,
right?
love them. Love Charlemagne the God, and Andrew Schultz. Matter of fact, aside from that, love Flagrant 2, Akash Singh, Kaz, Alex, all them. Deal with it. If we're getting real weird, if you want to get weird, love Bobby Lee in Tiger Belly.
Wait, who? Who?
Bobby Lee.
You're going to have to explain this one to me.
Bobby Lee in the Tiger Belly. Love you guys. Burt Kreischer, Tom Segura.
Yeah, Burt Kreischer.
Two Bears, One Cave. Love them. Needless to say, the king and godfather of podcasts, Joe Rogan. However, Joe Rogan is so big and so frequent with his podcasts, I can't subscribe. I have to scroll through his guests.
Because otherwise you just feel overwhelmed.
Right.
By it.
It's so much coming out at one time, and I don't know half of the people that are on there.
I tell you what, I'm feeling you on that because so I've been a big fan of started off with AMC Movie Talk, and the Schmoes Know, and then it was the Collider Live team, and since then Collider has basically shut down all of their stuff, and Christian Harloff, who's the I'll call him the chairman. He's the head of a new network, SEN, Schmodown Entertainment Network. It's a trivia competition, which I enjoy. Like, it's fun to watch. It's movie trivia, that kind of, and they've got. It started off very geeky.
I'm the king of that now.
Oh, are you? Oh, well then you need to watch. You need to tune into the Schmodown, and we can see what you think.
King of movie trivia.
Here's what.
Test me, sir.
When we get into movie trivia, though, like
Test me.
I'm good at trivia within the movie. I'm not good with like directors and actors and actresses. That's where I'm with you. If you're asking me like trivia about what happened in the movie,
right,
I'm with you. But if you asking me about who won the Oscar in 1976 for Best Picture or Best Actor,
right, well,
not my thing.
It depends. I stand by my statement. I'm the champion.
Anyways.
Michael Scorsese. I'm the fucking champion.
You a fool. No, so you should check it out. But
I'll do that.
So Collider pretty much shut down all of their they did a movie show. They did a show that's kind of like this, where it's just like a bunch of friends shooting the shit.
Right.
And since that point, Christian Harloff started his own network. He owns and runs the Schmodown, which is that movie trivia show competition.
Right.
And then
that I'm the champ of.
They talk about it's actually like movie trivia meets WWE.
I'm not the champ of that.
So it's interesting. Like, check it out. It's got they've got like 3 different divisions. They've got a tag team division, a singles division, and a inner geekdom division. I think there's and of course my personal favorite, the Star Wars division.
Oh shit! I lost that already.
But see, so they've got that, and then the rest.
Jean-Luc Picard's gay.
I don't think that's accurate.
I'm out. But
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Buzz me out already.
And then so when they split up the Collider Live show, like a bunch of those folks have been starting up their own podcasts. And so I subscribe, and I'm a Patreon member of a couple of them, and I think that's what kind of turned me on to like, hey, let's see what Cliff and I could do, because I tell you what, people find I hate to say it, but they find you pretty entertaining.
I don't know why. I'm just a regular old schmo.
Just a regular old guy.
Just a regular old schmo.
Well, ain't that some of the shit though? Because we are starting to get to be some of the old guys.
Listen,
we're not sitting at the kid table anymore,
nuts
sir.
Hanging lower every year. I'm telling you. Nuts hanging lower every year.
And more wrinkly.
Listen, I actually have a notch on my wall. In reverse. You know how like your mom would measure you? Mine's in reverse. And it's real funny because I drew the outline of my legs and the notches in between.
You are
DIY it.
a fool.
DIY it.
Oh man,
Oh shit.
Mr. Jennings,
Listen.
we are about an hour in.
What's next?
You
We
wanna?
didn't touch all of our topics.
We haven't touched all of our topics. I was actually about to ask you want to take a quick break,
You can do that.
2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, and we'll get right back to it.
I'm with it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead cut the mics.
Uh-oh.
Hopefully, we are back.
Mike's got to be on fools.
Just dummies.
Looks
dummies.
like we got it right.
I
Shit.
mean, do fools agree? I mean, we agree that the mic should be on, right?
Right. Shit. Now, after our bathroom
Our
break,
quick bio break. Quick
You
bio
know?
break, Everybody
know?
got to pee, and we're
All
both
that.
we both started off maybe a little, I don't want to say nervous, but nervous. And so we had a couple of drinks, and you got to pee.
cooling out, cooling off, relaxing.
And it's a good thing we had a couple of drinks for our next topic, Mr. Jennings.
Shit.
Are we gonna talk politics on this show?
I mean, it's a hot topic at the moment.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's been a hot topic for the last how far are we into this? 3 years?
Let me first
Coming up on year 4.
Let me first say this.
The views and opinions expressed here
And it's probably
are not the opinions of my employer, probably.
And I'm sure that's probably the case for me as well. But I'm gonna say what I feel like anyway. First being that all politics is gang banging for white people. Let's be honest. Like,
Can we at least agree on gang banging for rich people?
Okay,
rich,
you know what?
Rich white people.
You're absolutely correct, because we know, we both know, white people do gangbang. The Ku Klux Klan and the police. Thank you. So you're right.
Usually shipping out their wives to people of your color, but
Listen. But you're correct. You're correct.
this is how I get fired because I did a podcast. By the way,
But you're talented, Mike. So we know you'll bounce back. And me, on the other hand, I'll still be sitting behind the mic when the lights go on.
Well, the good news is, as long as I have enough money to afford internet, I'll let you record a podcast.
Well, we may make something happen then. So,
oh man,
what I will say is, let me repeat for the people in the back. Politics is just gang banging for. We'll change that from white people to rich people. Not even rich people. See,
it's not even rich. It's the ultra rich, the uber rich. I mean, at the end of the day, you're talking about 0.5% of people that own.
Well, see, we're
90% of the wealth in the.
See, this is the
on
thing.
the planet.
If I was the guy, right? If I was the guy that branded, marketed, whatever the case may be, what is this, Generation X?
Wait.
What are we in? What is this, Generation Z?
Bro,
I
you,
mean,
you and I are it's Z or
that's what I meant.
millennial.
I
Like
knew
you
it
and I think classify as millennials.
really?
Yeah,
Whatever generation we're in, let's
Gen Z is the one behind us.
Let's cut the bullshit. Your generation participation trophy, and it's all playing out now, because while the Democrats and the Republicans are basically, as my brethren has said, the rich and the uber rich fighting back and forth on who gets to pay less taxes while we get fucked. They've all manipulated you into thinking that you belong with them as well, and that you can make a decision based on how they feel, when that's not really, or how you feel.
Well, and I wanna call out here is that I consider myself pretty far left leaning, and I think the statement you just made is true of both sides.
As far as what? I'm sorry.
As far as it is the uber rich controlling the message, trying to get you to feel like they understand you, and it is on both sides.
Oh, my brethren, I would definitely. Let me first explain. When I say gang banging for rich people,
which, by the way, is my new favorite phrase.
Listen, I'm gonna start telling with, like, when people bitch about politics, the first thing that pops in my mind is stop fucking democrapping. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, who the fuck are you?
Preach, baby, preach.
Like, honestly, though, you know what I mean? Like, because we are in generation participation trophy, and the parents that raised the generation participation trophy are still in existence, they team up together and they all feel like they're included and equal when that's not the case.
Well,
like,
and I think it goes beyond that too. I think it's this culture that's been created by, honestly, the same thing that's got us in podcasting right now, right?
that
But
we
it's
all
that
have an opinion.
We all have an opinion that needs to be heard, and on top of that, that everyone's special, and the immediate gratification. Like, I think here's the difference between what I would say, and I think it's Eliza Schlesinger who talks about this. She says she's the elder millennial because she's like upper 30s.
Who's
right?
Eliza Schlesinger?
She's a comedian.
Sounds it.
Yeah, and she's got a special called Elder Millennial.
I'm sorry.
And I tell you what, I feel this. I mean, I feel the same way because I think millennial is a funny term because it's people like us who were born in the mid to late 80s who still had what I feel are the Gen X or Boomer work ethic credentials and knew what hard work to at least some extent.
Mm-hmm.
And that, guess what? Not everything's given to you.
Right.
You don't get you aren't special.
You
ain't
deserve.
shit. You don't deserve
You
nothing.
don't deserve
Guess
anything.
what? And guess what? You should work hard, and you can work hard and still ain't get shit.
Listen.
So, but that's something that I don't think the kids these days understand. And I mean, as a high school football coach, I see this shit all the time, man. Like, kids just think they special, and I think that's starting to play out in our politics now, which is funny because the politicians who are catering to this bullshit are all fucking 50 and above, 60 and above, man.
But you know what? It's perfect for them because, and listen, this may be an unpopular opinion. This may be controversial or triggering to some, but we're bitches. We're bitches now. And those politicians are the 60-year-old men that get the 20-year-old women. You can manipulate them. You can train them to be whatever it is you want them to be.
And that's what they're saying that about their
as a masses. Yeah. They're training us to believe the way they want us to believe. And then when they speak to us in a way, some of us eat it up and some of us see through it and say, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? But what it comes down to is if you ask the average person like me how you feel about politics or the presidential race, and to quote my brother, who's a very intelligent man, free my nigga Blue. By the way.
Wait, Blue locked up again? Man,
all voting for a president is at least for people like us, is changing the warden to the penitentiary. Doesn't matter if you get a nicer warden, you're still in the penitentiary. So with that being said, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if Donald Trump gets 4 more years. I don't care if Hillary makes a surprise sting appearance and flies in off a zip line into the Democratic debate and joins the race with $500 million. I don't give a fuck. Doesn't change anything for me. Still going to be making the same amount of money. They might even take more taxes out of my check. And I'm just supposed to bend over and lube up. So why would I care?
Oh, man.
Why would I care who anybody else chooses to be their president?
So the only thing that I will argue with you, because as a
well, before you say this,
because you know what I'm about to say.
I don't. I genuinely don't. But what I will say is the people who always make the argument that you should vote are always, and I'm not saying you specifically, but it's usually the people that benefit from the vote. Now, when I say not you specifically, I mean like the taxpayers and well, you should vote for this because what's that do? That's doing something for you.
Right.
But what's that doing for me? It's not doing anything for me.
See,
so I understand why you want me to vote because my numbers could sway one way or the other. But it doesn't matter if it's Obama or it's Trump. It doesn't change my way of life. It doesn't change anything. I don't get a couple extra dollars in my pocket.
So the only thing where I'll argue with you, and I can acknowledge that as a upper middle class white male, the system is in my favor no matter who the fuck is in charge, right? And I can acknowledge that. Like to the earlier point when we did our inadvertent thoughts earlier, right? Like, trust me, I consider myself woke enough to at least understand.
Oh, I know you.
What I think I have seen under this administration more than any other administration, at least in my lifetime, is the escalation of racist rhetoric. And I'm not saying that Obama was here and it was all good. Trust me, I'm not saying that. But I think with the current administration, with our current idiot in chief, Mr. Trump, that it has been made okay for that to be in the light again. And it started with me when he was elected, where bomb threats were called into my son's preschool because it was a Jewish community center. Like, I don't know that would have happened a year or two before that, at least as widespread as it is. And if you follow people like the SPLC and the ACLU, they will acknowledge that hate crimes and hate rhetoric and hate groups have flourished under this regime because it's been okay for them to come out of the dark. And again, I'm not saying that they weren't there before. They were there, but they were scared at least.
Listen, this is what I
nervous.
would say. No. And let me just say this. While those are your concerns, those are my appreciations. I appreciate that. I appreciate that we've been forced to regurgitate the truth that we haven't come as far as we thought we have.
Right.
We just haven't done that.
So, you mean when Obama became president, racism didn't disappear?
No, not at all. Listen, if we're being honest, once again, another unpopular opinion, I feel more Trump than Obama. Not as far as liking him, but as far as doing something for me, Trump than Obama.
Now, why?
If I'm
what have you seen? I mean, because I tell you what, the first year he was president, where they first made some of the changes on the tax stuff, I saw a better return. Like, but again, I'm upper middle class white, so.
Well, see, here's the difference, and this is the thing about it, though. Before I say that, because I know there's going to be a lot of people asking me why I would say something like that.
Well, I think you have to, as a
black
man in America, supporting
I'm not saying supporting.
Not supporting.
I didn't vote for the man,
right.
But long before he got elected, I said the best thing that could happen to this country would be Trump getting elected and America having to be forced to stare in the fucking mirror. And,
I think
that's exactly what's happening. There's no difference from Trump than this country that we live in. And what's happening is we're looking directly at each other and we're not liking what it is we see. The same way an alcoholic or a junkie would when they wake up from a bender. I look at myself in the mirror and I see shame. I see something I want to change.
So are you saying Obama was like an 8-year high and now we're on the come down?
I don't even see that. Because, I mean, to be honest, a high for who? You know what I mean? Like a hype
I mean,
for who? Like let's be
the economy turned around under Obama. You
bit.
got to remember, we were coming out of the biggest recession in your and I's lifetime, and I know words like recession when you're poor. Or
right,
they don't mean anything to you.
Like this is all.
And I get that.
This is what I'm trying to get. This is what I'm trying to portray. Is that
and I
all
hear
this
you. I hear you on that.
Is even keel. So while your water is rocky and wavy, I'm in the eye of the storm at all times. It's calm here.
And you don't feel like, from an employment standpoint, you've been more stable.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you why
since
it doesn't
Obama
matter.
than. Well, no. This. I think this is all legit conversation.
From an employment standpoint, I've been more stable with Trump than Obama, but not because of Trump.
No, it's everything that Obama had already put in place from economic standpoint. Like if you watch the trends,
correct.
You look at any economic
now, what
modeling,
I will say is
we're still on the Obama trend.
Now, what I will say is, and this is going to be controversy here,
and that's why we're here,
right? When Obama was elected in office, a lot of black people were happy just to have a black president.
My president is black. My maid black's blue.
Right? Yeah.
And
Not
I'll
enough.
Be goddamn if my diamonds ain't.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. This is another unpopular opinion. Just had a conversation with
maybe that should be the name of the show. Right. Unpopular opinions.
Because the truth is, there are two occupations in this world that trump your race. That's president and police officer. Once you are black,
no disagreement.
Once you are listen. Fools agree.
Fools agree.
Once you are black and you are president, you are now no longer black. You're just president.
You're just Mr. President.
Once you are black and you become a police officer, you are no longer black.
You are
You
Mr.
are just
Officer.
Mr. Officer. Don't get it confused. That's number one. Now, number two is.
By the way, Mr. Connor, if you're watching, or Coach Malloy, if you're watching, feel free to come on sometime and dispute that claim.
Of course, I would love it. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem saying I'm wrong, but let's be real. And
I think that's one thing. And I'm sorry to take a quick tangent
not at
here.
all.
I think that's one thing that I appreciate about our friendship over the years is I think we have both been in situations where we were wrong,
right?
And made sure the other one was okay to tell them.
Listen, tell me I'm wrong.
There's a reason why you were on probation for a couple months here with my wife. And you back now, and she's all good. She actually wanted me to tell you that she was happy to see you, and she was glad you were coming over and all that. So
that's good. That's good.
We'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Who knows? She may come up when she gets back from her soccer game. Who knows?
Hey, but for everyone who knows me, wasn't anything you're thinking.
No, it wasn't.
Just saying that.
No,
because
not at all.
You hear a statement like that, the first thing you think is, "Oh shit, what did Cliff
what
do?"
Cliff do?
Wasn't anything like that. So
honestly, I was probably more outrageous that night than you were. It's just I passed the fuck out.
Yeah, no, I was.
You engaged,
right? And that's my thing. Is I'm a pusher. I'm a pusher. Now I'm not a take advantage-er. I'm a pusher, as in I can know that something I'm about to say could be detrimental to our relationship. But
you still feel like you have to speak
right,
your mind
if I
on
know that it's right, I have to say it.
And I think that's the only reason you were forgiven is because I think she understands that there was no there's no
animosity.
There was no malintent.
Right. There was no malicious
intent. That's the word I was looking for.
Like that. Just a conversation.
Yeah.
And real things were said. Stuff happens.
And it's all good.
Nonetheless, to finish my thought, when Obama was elected, a lot of people were just happy we got our first black president.
And I'll go back to the Jay-Z song.
Jeezy. Jeezy song.
But it was Jay-Z's verse on a Jeezy song.
You're right. Okay. You're right. Touche. You got,
yeah, that's
you got
right.
That.
That's right. That's right. Because guess
he
what?
He was on there.
Well, no,
but
the Obama. No, it was a Jeezy song. It was the Obama verse was a Jay-Z verse specifically for Obama, like leading into the election.
Well, I mean, the song was for that.
No, the song was not specific to Obama.
Yeah. The hook was my president is black.
The
my
hook.
Lambo's
But if you listen
blue.
to the rest of the song, it's not. It doesn't seem
okay,
like you know what I mean.
I see what exactly
Jay-Z's
what you're saying.
verse was specifically Obama.
Touche. Touche. You are absolutely correct.
That was back when I still followed hip hop before
you are absolutely
shit got all mumble.
You're absolutely correct.
I can't follow the shit today.
Jeezy was more so rapping about his life.
But I know you a Jeezy fan,
right.
so
yeah, no, that's 100% correct. Much more than Jay, but
we might have to come back to that at some
point. We definitely can as well. But other than that, small populace of people that was just happy that he was black. There was another much smaller populace that thought he was actually going to be able to do something for black people. No, not the case. Actually, let's be honest, he did more for homosexual people than he did black people in his term in office. And that's not a dig on anybody. That's just being honest, because we all know, which goes back to my point, once you become president, you no longer become black. You just become president. That you're just a puppet. You're a puppet at that point.
Well, and I think what you started to see at that point was the rubber band effect. As soon as a black man was in power, you saw the old white kind of just reinvigorate to protect what was theirs, right. And I think honestly that's the reason for the Trump presidency. You awoken a people that had the world be theirs for so long that they were like, oh, we can't let these upstarts get away with this shit now.
Which is why I say I'm more Trump than Obama, because I appreciate that. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. While Obama was regal, he was he had
a class act,
right? He was almost too perfect. Not saying
is that the problem.
No, not saying
that he was too perfect.
Not saying that that's the problem at all. But what are you covering up? You know what I mean?
I hear you.
You're acting as if everything's okay, walking into what you said was one of the worst recessions of our lifetime, right?
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
So shoot it to me straight. You know what I mean? Don't spare my feelings with a lie. Don't walk around here all smiling and happy, laughing and joking, hugging babies when we're on the verge of a crisis, while Trump is saying, we're in a crisis. I'll make it better. Now, has he made it better for me? No. But what he has done that I very much appreciate is he's brought every white person that feels a certain kind of way about people of color out from under their rock.
And now you know who they are.
Exactly.
And before it was under the table.
Yeah, right. I'd much rather you say, get out of here, black. Because I won't say.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
That's probably for the best.
At least not this episode. At least get comfortable with us first.
Right.
Get out of here, black. Then someone say, well, it's nice that we definitely appreciate having you for this interview. We'll definitely be getting back to you in a moment. Just to be expecting our call and be ready when we do. That nigger's not getting the blame.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I'd much rather that. I'd much rather know exactly what it is that I'm walking into than walking into something, a false sense of security. So for that, I think Donald Trump. Obama, you could have did better. I mean, let's just be honest. You could have did better. I understand why you didn't, because there's only so much you can do. And as you said, there's always the powers that be that are holding on to those reins that are like, whoa there. Went a little too far. I get it.
Well, and
But
honestly, that's what I think has caused this bifurcation of our society at this point. Like, I feel like going into the first Obama term, there was at least ground to meet in the middle, and now and this is on both sides, man.
You know what I
now
think
it's on
is?
both sides, though, that you are either with me or you're against me,
That's
and
true.
there's no common ground. There's no middle ground anymore.
The rich people gangbanging.
You're not wrong.
Listen, let me explain something to you. It's not a coincidence that there are red and blue states. That's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that Crips and Bloods are red and blue. That's not a coincidence. Now, I'm going to tell you a difference. The only difference between Crips and Bloods and Democrats and Republicans is one has a main line to society and is very good at manipulating. The other chooses not to leave the hood. And it's easy to put whatever kind of rhetoric on someone that's not there to hear what's being said about them. So when you have a situation where I'm the exact same as you, but I can affect the way I'm viewed, we're back to the 60-year-old politician and the 20-year-old wife. We're just the 20-year-old wife. You can manipulate me into thinking whatever. Meanwhile, you're doing the same thing they're doing, but better. Is that not right or wrong? What do they do? What's their main source of income? Selling drugs? What's Big Pharma doing?
No doubt.
What's Big Pharma doing?
No doubt.
What are the nicotine and the alcohol industries doing?
Well, and I mean, that's a situation where I think nicotine and is one thing. I think the pharma industry is completely different,
But it's all the same.
Well, and it's interesting because
It's all the same. It's no different from me selling joints on the street.
No,
or
it's
me
not.
selling crack cocaine.
They're making a bigger profit off of it. That's the difference.
Or a Percocet. I can give you a joint or a bump of crack. It's the exact same thing, just different marketing plans.
Well, and it's the money behind it that made it legal for them to do that in the first place.
Right.
The only difference between Big Pharma and the dude on the corner is the marketing budget.
Right. The budget and the scheme.
And
who you reach.
And the ownership of the system.
And who you reach.
Right.
I can manipulate the masses and say, oh, this is good for you. Why would a doctor prescribe it to you if it wasn't good for you? Meanwhile,
because they're in their pocket.
Meanwhile, your Adderall is no different from crystal meth. But they got you believing something completely different. It's the exact same thing. It's even more sinister, if I'm being honest. The politics, I much rather deal with, and I know it's easier for me to say because I come from this and I've seen it. I much rather deal with the people that, if you disrespect them, are trying to kill you than the people that are trying to kill you before they even meet you.
Oh, no doubt. And as somebody that, I almost worked for a couple of different pharma advertising agencies.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, like I don't want to get into too much about where I work, but I work in the financial services industry, and it's all credit cards, right?
Listen,
I don't feel great about the fact that I'm running up people's debt and causing them heartache.
Let me tell you that. It's funny
I'd
that
rather
you brought
do
that up.
than pharma.
Because I was in that career as well, as you know.
I know.
And what I told them there is that all that is legal loan sharking. The only difference is instead of breaking my legs, you're ruining my credit. Which is worse, though? I'd rather have my legs broken.
Oh, because
I can do more.
Because if your legs are broken, you can at least still get a loan to go do some shit.
I can do more in a wheelchair. I can do more in a wheelchair than I can with two Usain Bolt legs.
True.
And bad credit.
No doubt. Absolutely.
So, it's all. Listen. This is the mirror. It's a mirror. This is why everybody's saying the big H word, the big hypocrisy. Because right now we're staring in a mirror and we're trying to tell each other what we're not. but we're both moving the same. So guess what? If the bad guy's moving the same way you are,
you're the bad guy.
Whoa there! Do fools
Two
agree?
fools agree.
God damn it.
Hey, I just wanted to give a quick shout out here. Melissa Ferguson out in the chat. Char's good friend from the Buffalo area.
Oh, okay then.
She's out there and she sent us a quick chat. Hey guys, good stuff happening. Fuck Big Pharma. Cannabis for life. And I'd like to give a shout out to Bison Botanicals out there in Buffalo.
I know that's right. Love to both of you.
Amen.
Where were we?
Oh, I mean, we were
ranting.
We were ranting. We went from Trump to Obama.
It's all linked.
Back to Big Pharma.
It's all linked.
So what you got? You got something? You give me the look. You give me a finger.
Let me. This is gonna be in there. What were you gonna say?
No, I think the only thing I was gonna say was so we talked a little bit about Trump, Obama, how depending where you live on the spectrum, whether or not that's something that is whether that actually matters to you. I think from my perspective, I think it does matter personally.
Right.
And again, as a upper middle class white male, probably matters to me more than it matters to you.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, out of the candidates I guess the question would stand then. Like, I don't.
Who would I be voting for?
I don't know that you're going to vote for Trump.
No.
So out of who the Dems have put forth, what do you or are you thinking third party? Like, I will tell you personally, I think third party, anybody who votes third party is an idiot. Sometimes you got to take the lesser of two evils to kind of. I would like to put the racism at least back in the corner instead of out front. But
agree.
But I also I'm not a
right.
black man,
I
so
don't agree.
I hear your point on bringing that out into the light and knowing who your friends are and who your enemies are. That's there's power in that too. So I get that.
My whole I guess that's why, and it's ironic, and I have no problem admitting anything that I've done and leaving it up to your judgment. I voted third party last year.
Okay.
Because I wasn't gonna vote for Trump and I wasn't gonna vote for Hillary. Bernie wasn't on there.
I will tell you that I voted for Bernie in the primary.
Did you?
And I'm registered independent, so I can kind of pick which primary I vote in. And
listen,
I voted for Bernie in the primary, even though I told my wife that I voted for Hillary in the primary. I'm like, Bernie's too crazy. He's too out there. He can't do it. And meanwhile, I'm like, click, click, click.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Feel the burn.
Bernie wouldn't make it. That'd be who I'd vote for this year. I find it disgusting that they've taken his name off of the polls.
They've taken his name off the polls, and on top of that, like,
I find it absolutely disgusting that they're doing that.
I am, and maybe it goes back to the point that, that middle class or mid-American white male demographic can relate to Joe Biden, and that's why he's been a front runner. Like, the fact that Joe Biden is even in consideration at this point upsets me.
I mean,
and unfortunately,
once again,
Kamala left. she stepped out of the race.
I wouldn't have voted for her either.
No, well, because she's a DA.
It ain't even about that. I wouldn't have voted for her either. She wouldn't have got a vote either.
So, out of who's left in the Democratic race, if you had to pick one of them, who would it be? Or are you thinking third party again?
Let's be honest. I didn't get to finish my statement last year.
I'm sorry.
Oh, shit. Did I raise that up?
Raise what up?
That beer.
What's the problem?
That beer in front of the camera.
Oh, I don't think it showed. If it did, it was barely.
Um.
We try not to show our non-sponsored beer. Now,
Right.
if said beer would like to sponsor us, you can reach out to me at Michael.
And please do, because that'll actually give me a reason to be double fisting these bitches in the podcast.
I think you should watch how you double fist. That's probably not.
That might be true. That might be true.
And again, this is how a podcast gets me fired from my day job.
Listen, what are they doing?
Hopefully they got better things to do with their time, like
I'm sure
running up people's credit card debt.
listen, I'm pretty sure the two people listening don't have any relationship with your employer anyway.
That's probably true.
At this point,
I'm more worried that they come back to it.
I guess that
or
could be
who knows? It could be all fucking robotic process automation now. It could all be. They could have this shit automated that they're listening to social media and looking for employee names and shit.
Let me be 100. I don't know that I wouldn't be happier collecting unemployment for a little while.
I tell you what.
To be honest.
And this will probably give away where I work, but we've had 2 layoffs in the past 4 months. And I'm not gonna lie. I got to the point finally that I was like, you know what? If they're gonna do it, just do it. I'll take a couple week vacation while I find something else.
I'll find something else soon. No big deal. We'll be back at it. Oh well.
No doubt. We'll be all right. We'll find a way.
But where were we at? What were we? What was the?
We're talking about who you gonna vote for.
That's why I keep forgetting.
That's why you keep trying to get away from it.
It doesn't matter to me. Like honestly, it doesn't matter to me. And I don't know. And my mom and them would be saying, "Why would you say something like that?" But let's be honest here. We're not. This isn't. What's Matthew McConaughey's movie? This isn't the Free State of Jones. We're in a capitalist society. Both of these engines are fueled by cash. Doesn't fucking matter who you vote for. Capitalism. That's the party. There is no Republican or Democrat. Capitalism is the whole. That's the umbrella. Then those two are up under it. But the bottom line is, unless we're out from under capitalism, it doesn't matter who you vote for.
Well, and I think the argument
force is cash.
I think the argument there would be that you've got 2 candidates who are supporting and not socialism, democratic socialism,
right.
and you know more programs for the people, and you know things like Medicare for all and free public tuition for all and things like that. And you've got folks like, you know, AOC out there talking about the Green New Deal and things that would create millions of jobs and blah, blah, blah. So I hear you on the capitalist angle. Like,
sorry,
trust me. At the end of the day, you're right. The 0.5% that owns, you know, 90% of the wealth in the world are the ones making the rules. And as long as they can continue to advertise and brainwash people, you're right. That's where it's going to end up.
The only way it'll change is if they kick our feet off the coffee table. Right now, we're too comfortable.
True.
We're too comfortable, and until it comes to a situation,
until it comes to a real revolutionary
or something going on, and people have to stand the fuck up, we're gonna be here bickering at each other, democrapping. Nobody cares about the politics. Nobody cares, sweetheart. I mean, maybe in your world they do. The world where you pretend like you care about everything else going on. But you're by yourself in it. You're alone in that world. There's people below you that would love to get there. So please don't push that off on us like we're supposed to fight the fight with you when nobody's fighting our fight with us, I guess is what it comes down to.
I mean, I think that's a fair statement.
So if I'm being 100% honest,
it doesn't matter.
I probably won't vote this year. Like, I'm probably not gonna waste $5 of my gas money because it doesn't matter that much. Like, honestly, it doesn't matter. If the only thing I'm voting for is whether people will be nice to me, I don't care.
I mean, I personally would like to say that's not the only thing you're voting
right.
for. But
that's
at
what
the
it
same
comes
time,
down to.
though, you're not.
Is it okay to be racist in public, or is it not okay to be? I don't give a. You can do whatever you want, sir. You can do whatever you want. Just know the last person that called me that also filed assault charges. Just know that. That's all I got to say. So do whatever you like.
Right.
Be out with it. Throw a piece of hay in your mouth and strum on the banjo.
Come here, boy.
I don't give a. I don't care. doesn't bother me none.
Oh man.
So I'm probably not gonna waste the gas money.
That hurts my soul. But I also, to an extent, understand it. So I don't know, man.
I'll vote for you.
Oh, you vote for me?
I'd vote for you. One of us got to be winning, right?
True.
Shit. I'll vote for you. You tell me who to vote for.
All right. Well, then I'll keep that in mind. I'll tell you who to vote for, and I'll give you the $5 for the gas money. All right, just so we don't have to go through another 4 years under the current.
That might be the best. You don't think that? I honestly think that might be the best. Who else is gonna kick our feet off the coffee table?
I mean, that's a fair statement.
I don't see anyone else kicking our feet off the coffee table but him.
Well, I think what you've seen under his presidency is a mobilization of people,
and then
in record numbers. But the problem is that people, that was the case when he was first elected, and now it's 4 years later, and people are tired.
Right.
They just don't want to deal with the rhetoric anymore. And honestly, wouldn't surprise me if that's the reason he gets elected again. Like, people are tired. I mean, I'll tell you, like, I donated to the ACLU. I donated to, every single swing campaign in every single state. And I got to 2019. I'm like, you know what? Why? I'm tired. And I know that's even for what I want to be.
You know what?
That's what they want. Like, they want me to be tired by now. And at the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter one way or the other.
Right, that's what I'm trying to.
And I know that's where you're coming back to, and I get that.
They're playing both sides. They want you to donate, and they want you to give up.
Right.
They want you to do both.
They want you to figure out how to do both. Absolutely.
All I'm saying is I'm going to disrespect your home. You know what I'm saying? And kick my feet up on the coffee table.
Put your feet up on the coffee table.
Until somebody feels tough enough to kick them off.
Right.
Then the move's on me. Everybody else didn't feel that way, though. And, I mean, that's fine. But the same way you would say me probably not voting and wasting the $5 disappoints you, is the same way I feel disappointed that you would donate money into this fucking circus. You would donate money into this circus?
I hear you.
There's people starving, and we're over here donating money into politics. We're over here building Notre Dame. Yes, I know how to pronounce it. Notre Dame is.
I tell you what, I wasn't gonna donate to Notre Dame.
Listen.
But I hear your point. I mean, in a lot of ways, I don't think you're wrong. I think that at the end of the day, the individual donor doesn't matter, and it's all about big money in politics, and that's what rules the day. And I don't think that's wrong. That's probably why we're gonna see a Biden Bloomberg ticket. Let
me tell y'all something. You want to know what would motivate me to vote? Let somebody actually
reparations.
No, fuck the reparations. We're never getting those. Fuck the reparations. Just care. Just be a candidate and care. I haven't heard one person address the spike in sexual trafficking going on. Like, this is beyond an issue.
Oh, but they shut down Backpage in Ohio, so
Right.
it's
we'll
all.
be okay.
There's no more sexual trafficking because they
So we
shut
can
down
still,
Backpage.
We can still steal the kids, but it's gonna be hard to sell them. Listen, no one has so much as acknowledged. No one has put out a state of emergency. And then,
But do you think that would happen under this president, anyways?
I don't think it would happen under any president. Because
I think
country,
if you had seen a spike like this,
this country makes money off of that too. You think if this country wouldn't make money off of killing people with prescription drugs and not give a fuck and try to shut CBD and marijuana down that are actually helping people, that they wouldn't sell kids and all that? You think?
Well, I think that's what you saw with the whole Epstein thing, right? All
I can say is this is a capitalist country. And this country is the guy that has what you need.
If this country wanted to shut down child trafficking, it could.
Be done.
It would be done
tomorrow.
I don't disagree.
Tomorrow.
I don't disagree with you.
If this world were a prison, America would be the guy that has what you need. I can get you whatever you need. Just let me know. I'll have it. Just let me know.
Right.
Just give me a little time. I'll have it.
And then what are you going to do for me?
Right.
Before you get that.
So you think that we...
I mean, that's the whole impeachment debate, though, right? Like,
right.
I'll do for you if you do for me.
Right. Now, the only contingency plan with Trump is he's not a part of the powers that be.
You don't think so? Well, he's not.
I know so.
He's a puppet.
They look at him like trash.
He's a puppet.
The powers that be are looking at Trump like, you fucking
You know what?
scum.
You know what he is? It's the same thing we talked about earlier. He is a marketing tool. Operative word is tool, but he is a marketing tool. And he is somebody that the powers that be felt could rally and create a strong enough message to bring that base together.
If Trump is a marketing tool, then what the tool is marketing is crystal meth. Because I'm just being real. Because
he's marketing crystal meth. All right, this I gotta hear. Let's go. What you got? What you got?
Use Trump as a marketing tool, but Trump's not on any track. We can both agree Trump is off the rails. Trump isn't doing what the Republicans want. Trump
for sure.
Isn't doing what the Democrats want. So while he's your marketing tool, you're dealing with meth, powers that be. One messed up measurement, and this blows up in your face.
I mean, all I can think of is cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Listen, that's all I'm going to say. Trump can be your marketing tool, but just know you're marketing meth. And I'm waiting for this to blow up in your face like a propane-riddled trailer park. I'm not even going to say where, because that would be... You get the gist of it.
I hear you.
You get the gist.
I do. I get the gist. And one of these days, we're going to figure out how to keep you in the microphone and not speaking off into the air.
Listen, I will not be.
That's why this is the first show, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get there. We'll get there.
I will not be caged. I'm gonna have to have one of those.
Oh, are you just gonna hold yours?
One of those like this.
Oh, you want the headphone?
Like I'm at a call center, because I'm gonna be moving. I can't guarantee my shirt's gonna stay on. I can't guarantee. I can't.
I mean, what I would like to tell the one or two people that have watched thus far and will watch tomorrow, I'll make you this promise: I will keep my shirt on.
Listen,
that
makes one of us.
Man. Oh.
I don't know.
You got anything else?
Listen, two fools, same thoughts.
So we had a couple of segments where we agreed, a couple where we disagree. I think We agreed on the.
We disagree. What we disagree on?
I mean, you and I disagree on whether to vote or not. That's kind of a big one.
And now I'm gonna have to unfriend
And we're not necessarily we're not necessarily big friends on the Star Trek angle either.
Now I'm gonna have to unfriend you on Facebook.
Or are you gonna unfriend me on Facebook?
Well, that's good. And that's what we do.
that's what
if we
do.
Don't agree, we're not fucking friends.
Fuck all y'all.
You fucking pussies.
Oh man.
You know what?
What you got? Are you gonna preach? Preach, Mr. Jennings,
Last
preach.
thing.
Wait. Let's go to the single camera shot.
Right. I don't talk politics. But I don't want you people, you included, to not feel dumb. Okay? I want you to feel as dumb as possible. Okay? Red and blue, you're crippin', you're Democratin, you're Democratin, or you're Republi'bloodin. I don't know, Republi'bloodin. I don't know.
So it's Democrat.
Listen, all I know is.
Wait, I have to ask.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear this somewhere? Or did you make this up yourself?
Out of here.
Oh my man,
never
that's
heard
gonna
this
be.
before.
That's gonna be. Oof.
You never heard it before. But what I will say is, black folks, we usually have gangbangers in our family, and it's only natural that you would have opposite ends of the spectrum in the same family. Do you know what we do? Not give a fuck. Who cares? Y'all unfriend each other on Facebook. Y'all talk bad about each other in emails at work. This is a rich man's gangbanging gang. The only difference is, where I live, people are losing their life. Where you live, people are losing friends. And all I say is, try to be open and understand that this is all dumb and by design. Just love one another.
And with that, I feel like that was a very much that felt like a very Jerry Springer end to the show. But I like it. I like it. But I like it.
It's very Jerry.
And that's what I mean. And take care of one another.
Just love one another. Listen, if you see, because let me first say that I can't say that I won't be this guy. If you see something that looks suspicious, being a white van, being a car with something sort of symbol that you,
or weird locks on it,
anything, look out. Just look out. Look out. If you see something that looks wrong, stick around a little longer. Stay about 15, 20 minutes longer than you planned on, just to make sure someone gets home safe. Because it could be one of your relatives, and it could be someone that doesn't care and lets it happen, or it could be someone that's waiting to see if they can intervene. Now, what I will say is, karma's real. I named my daughter after her. Wouldn't have done that if I didn't know that that was a real thing. It will come back around on you. And it may not be you, but it may be someone you love. So just keep that in mind, and knowing when you see kids walking down the street, going to the bus stop, unattended. When you see kids walking home from baseball practice or cheerleading, just keep an eye out. I'm not saying be the creepy guy parked in the back that gets the police called on you, but just make sure people get home safe. Have a little compassion, because right now, if we lack anything, I would say that that's it. And it's not hard to have. That's it. That's all
I think that's a great way to wrap up the show. So I tell you what, man, I had a lot of fun doing this with you tonight. I mean, should people look for us next week? What do you think?
I'll be here.
Oh, will you?
I
like it. I like
it. But I'll be here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You have been watching